In this video, I'm going to be running through what we've done to our 250 series Prado to make it both good on and off-road. So when we bought this car, one of our biggest considerations for the modifications that we wanted to do to it was that it had to do a lot of things. So when you modify a car, it has consequences. Everything you do might affect it in some other area. And what we didn't want is something that was purely for touring. Take our Troopy, for example. That is the best touring car, I think, ever. But that is all it's good for. We've taken all its utility out of it by putting such an extensive touring system in it. So it's useless just as anything else. This car for us needs to do a lot of things. It needs to be, yes, the shopping car, needs to do the daily car things. We also need it to be a wedding vehicle to ferry clients around. We need it for a camera rig. We need it as a tow vehicle. And honestly, the majority of our driving is on road. So all the modifications that we were doing to it, I didn't want it to affect its on-road performance. It's a very nice car to drive on roads. We're doing big Ks in it, and I didn't want that compromised. And if anything, the modifications that we have done haven't affected its ability on-road, and it's greatly improved its capability off-road, which is something that we do. Obviously, we've got this YouTube channel and we go off-road a lot. But I think for a lot of people, this is probably what these 250s are going to be having to do. They're going to have to do a lot of different things. They're going to be a daily vehicle that might go out camping on the weekends, or it's going to be the tow rig. So let's go through the modifications that I've done to have it as all those things and a work vehicle for us as well. And we'll get into it. Okay, first things first, you know that I've done the tires. One of the first things I did, the stock tires were a 265/65/18. And these are a 285/65/18. So pretty much they're just a slightly larger tire. They're almost a 33. These work really well. It still gets into 8th gear. Every now and then I have to kind of put it into manual to get into 8th gear, but it's quite rare. It's a bit weird how it doesn't every now and then, but generally it's going to 8th, no worries. And I also have put a 2-inch lift in it from Fulcrum. This is their F4R suspension. This is the remote res shocks that are fully adjustable. I've done a whole video on that, so go and check that out if you haven't seen it already. But that straight away helped with the car's clearance, which is one of its worst things from factory. Look, the suspension, it's absolutely fantastic. It's extremely comfortable. It's definitely no worse. It's actually better than the stock suspension on road. And obviously off-road, it performs a lot better. And just lifting that body of the car, especially with the tires, we have much more clearance and much more capability off-road. So that was the first thing that we did, and it's been really, really good so far. One of the biggest changes that we have done on the Prado, it's pretty obvious what it is the front bar. This bar is from the Cruiser company. They are Australian made down in Melbourne, and I think, and I'm not just saying this, but I think this is the best looking bar for a 250 out there. There are some all right ones and there are some absolutely hideous ones. Toyota's bar is, I don't know what they were thinking when they made that. It doesn't even look like it was made for the 250. It looks like it was for something else and they've just cobbled it on, which probably wouldn't surprise me if it was. But this bar really follows the contours and lines of the car, and it's just nice and tucked in. It's not a big overhang. It really looks like it should be part of the car. Obviously, we've got it in the color match, which is the pearl white, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. For us, we do a lot of night driving, way more than your average person. We're usually traveling home in a rural area very late at night after weddings or shoots. So we really needed that bull bar for animal strike. We don't just have roos here. We have horses, sambar deer, wombats, a lot of wildlife. So we just didn't want to get hung up in the middle of the night because of hitting something like that. So this is going to help for sure, but also gives us a few options for mounting accessories, primarily spotlights, which is something we really wanted, and our winch. So let's run through that. The lights that we have on here are from Ultravision. These are the Raptors. Now, Ultravision, they're an Australian made spotlight. These are really, really well made. The Raptors are kind of like their mid-range light. They're still a premium light, but it's mid-range in their range. You've got the Nitro Max, which are their higher end light. We are going to be changing these fairly soon to another Ultra Vision light. It's a new product that is coming out, but I'm really excited to see how these perform because they're quite reasonably priced. And then after that, I'm going to be able to compare it to the more high-end product that we're going to be getting later, but really keen to test these out. I've been missing having spotties on this thing at night, and they're just really important if you're in a rural area, and they just greatly expand how far you can see because look, the Toyota lights, they're just not that fantastic. I think it's worth noting this is kind of a pre-production model of this bar. There's a few slight changes that they'll be making to the production model. Primarily, there's going to be a few little extra plates just under here to give some components near the lights just a bit more protection, which is great. But this is pretty close to how it's going to be looking for production, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Moving on to our winch. This is the Sabre winch. We've been using Sabre gear for years now for all our recovery gear, and their winch on our Troopy has been fantastic so far. So we've got the winch and we've upgraded to the alloy soft shackle hook here, and just a bit of peace of mind for us, especially when we're towing. We've got the bigger capacity winch here just to get us out of any sticky situations. We're not going to be running sort of recovery boards or anything like that on this car, having them in there permanently. So winch is a bit of peace of mind for us for the kind of travel that we do. So that's absolutely fantastic. Nice little pop of color on the front there as well. That's probably one of our biggest things that we needed to get done in the Prado. I will say with the bar and the winch, the extra weight in the front end, I have definitely noticed it. I've noticed it just in general driving, and it's probably one of the only things that we've done which has compromises on-road ability. Look, it still drives absolutely fine, but I think a limitation of the Prado and the platform is that it's going to not respond to weight as well as something like the 300 series. It's just not going to do it with the engine and kind of what this car has been made to do. The 300 is going to respond to weight a lot better. So that's just something to note. It's not bad, it still drives great, and for the protection it provides and the accessories that we've been able to fit to it, it's more than worth it for us. At the corner here on the passenger side, we have our Zedify antenna, which is a 2-in-1. So it's a UHF antenna and a Cell-Fi antenna. So you no longer need two antennas for your Cell-Fi and your UHF. This is all in one. Again, this is Australian made, and I want you to take notice of the bracket here on the front. This is from TLR. TLR has done a lot of the bracketry for the car, and I'll show you the other brackets that are on the car, but I've seen a few other antenna brackets that mount on this corner, and they're kind of just a really ugly chunk of metal that kind of hangs out, and it doesn't look good at all. This is a panel replacement, so there's a bit of plastic here in the 250, and this is a nice folded bit of alley, which totally replaces that and gives you a really nice sturdy point to mount an antenna. Another plus of having the antenna mounted here is that it's not in your vision. I personally like my vision quite clear. My Troopy, it is mounted on the front, and when you've got a sand flag as well, it kind of gets a bit busy in front of you. And again, because we are on road and driving, you know, so much with this thing, I just wanted it as nice as possible, and that's a big thing for me. So this is the best bracket I've seen by far for an antenna for a 250, so it's from TLR, so definitely go and check that out. The UHF antenna itself has been fantastic. We are running a GME XRS unit inside. Again, Australian made. Oh, look, GME make good stuff, you all know they do. It's been a really good combo, and it saves us having two aerials on the front of the car. Just inside the Prado here quickly, we've got our GME XRS here. In the 250, if you have one, you might have noticed that there's no real good spot for mounting a UHF. But again, TLR has come to the rescue here with this fantastic little bracket. This thing just clips on to the dash here, and it's in a really nice spot. It's out of the way, you can still get to all the buttons. It doesn't impede the screen at all, and being able to touch that. So this is from TLR again, fantastic, really nice, quick, easy place to mount your UHF. In the back here is one of the biggest changes for the Prado, and something that we were searching for quite a while to find the right gear that was going to suit us, and that is a draw system for the back. Let's check it out. Here it is here. So this system is from Raised Products. They're down in Melbourne and they are just making some really, really nice stuff. So you start off here with the false floor. Now underneath this false floor is your 48 volt system for the Prados. We also have in there our Redar 50 amp alpha charger, 100 amp hour lithium battery from Invicta. We don't have roof racks or anything like that on top of the Prado, so we can mount solar panels or anything like that. We do have a blanket input, but I wanted a bigger charger that's going to be able to pump the power in nice and quickly into the battery. So it's a slimline battery, and we've got a 2000 watt Invicta inverter. I did want to go Redar gear for the inverter as well, but the Alpha series is actually physically quite large and the Invicta inverter just fitted better. So that's where the false floor is under there. They've kind of got a nice little shelf under here so you can store a couple of things. Moving on to the fridge in here. So that battery's running this fridge. This is the Bushman 30 litre drawer fridge. Now, we've been running Bushman fridges for a while now and they just haven't missed a beat. We just needed this for drinks, food, as we're on shoots, you know, in summer when we're doing weddings, gets bloody, you know, hot and we're really needing a lot of fluids throughout the day. So having cool drinks is fantastic. But even just running to the shops, it's really good to be able to chuck some cold items from your shopping straight into the fridge and just keep it cool. So this is the 30 litre drawer fridge from Bushman. Sorry about that cow. This is a 30 litre drawer fridge from Bushman. The insulation on this thing is so thick. I haven't seen a drawer fridge with insulation anywhere near this thick, but that is at the detriment to the internal space. But you can run this thing as a proper deep freeze right down to -18. And that thick insulation is going to give you really, really good efficiency, which again is something that I wanted because we're not having a solar panel. I wanted this fridge to be super efficient on hot days and not be drawing too much power. As I said, you can run down to -18. Bushman are actually going to be doing another drawer fridge with the exact same external dimensions as this one, but with less insulation. So if you're just wanting to run it as a fridge, I think down to -10, then that will be the fridge for you if you want the more internal space. This one here is the one that I wanted, which has the really high efficiency and being able to go down to a freezer if I need. Maybe when we're caravanning, we can sort of expand it with that. Moving on, we've got the drawer system itself. We needed something very, very specific. As I said, we shoot quite a lot and this is our camera vehicle. We have a large Pelican case that we shoot with, or we have all our gear, and I needed that to be really accessible, but I also wanted a table to be able to fiddle around with cameras and change lenses. It's something that we do a lot. So it was quite hard finding something that ticked all the boxes for us. So we've got the drawer down here. It's got a really nice pattern on it. It's kind of like a topo lines on it. Just looks really cool. I love the little details like that. I want you to notice here the way I open this drawer. Now, it's not some, you know, bit of hardware that you can get from the hardware shop or anything like that, little clicky, you know, plasti dip kind of handles or anything like that. This here has this little cutout that you slide your hand into. Sorry about that cow. You push it down like that. It is so satisfying, and just from a design perspective, you know, interacting with the product can go a long way, and I just love that interaction, just big click. It's like a really strong fabricated latch, and yeah, I really like it. Now, as I said, we wanted a table. Check this out. Got this piano hinge style table. Now you might be thinking, oh, well, it's a bit inconvenient going in to the inside. With 4 bolts, I can just undo this and I can spin it around so it will hinge out this way. But I wanted the table going this way purely for lighting, which we don't have yet, we will be getting soon. But purely for lighting, again, we're doing stuff with cameras late at night. It's in the dark and I wanted this to be in the light. I can still access our fridge. Well, the first half of it anyway, so it's not that much of a problem. Now, the other big trick with this system, and as I said, I wanted my Pelican case to be really accessible when we are shooting. Check this out. So we've got this big It's a fridge slide actually, but it works perfectly for our Pelican case. So we can have the Pelican case here, it opens up, I can grab the cameras out and I can do them, fiddle around with them on this table, which is absolutely fantastic. So the way that all works is just so nice. It looks fantastic. Inside the raised drawer here, we've got this nice sort of liner. It's like a marine sort of liner. There is actually going to be some lighting inside this drawer. As I said, we haven't got the lighting yet, but that is coming soon. So the drawers can be individually lit up, and it's just a really well put together system. As I said, I haven't seen anything really anywhere near this kind of level. Again, it's all Australian made in Melbourne. Down in here, well, I'll show you what's down here. Let's have a look. There's a panel that the Prado has that can be taken out where it has, I think there's a few tools or something in it, but Raised have created a little panel here that they take it out and then they install this one here. And then inside I've got heaps of USB-C and USB-A points, all for charging my camera gear for when we're driving. There's actually something charging there now. This is my lights. So I've just been charging that inside. So that's fantastic having those charging points. Again, down here is a really big hidey hole. You can put something like a sand flag or long thin items down there, and there's that same side on the other side down there. There is a panel here covering that, which makes it look a bit more flush and neat. And I decided to leave this one off so I just had better access for all the gear that was charging down the side. Further expanding the usability of the back of this car, we've opted to go with some K-On gear. Now they're pretty well known in the industry for doing really cool stuff. A lot of wagons, you know, your 150s and your 76s, they make awesome stuff. They do heaps of different things. So K-On, again, Australian made. We've got this shelf up here. I thought it would take up more room, but it really doesn't, but it's quite nicely tucked away. We've still got great access to everything. We've got some of their bags here. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna put into them yet. But so far, I have a heap of Sabre recovery gear. So that's always just gonna live up there, and it's just gonna be on hand, ready for if we ever need to do a recovery. So that's just a great place to store things that you wanna kind of keep in your car permanently. I'm thinking first aid bags. I'll definitely be getting a few first aid kits to chuck up there, which is just important for our work and also for when we're traveling. We've also got these molly panels here on the side that K-On have mounting options for their bags for. So yeah, we'll probably try and utilize those and see what they can do for us. And then because we have this high shelf now on the inside, we really needed a divider, that cage there, just for safety. If you've got stuff stacked on these drawers and you don't have a cage and you have an accident, you don't want stuff flying forward into the front. So we've got this here, again, that's all from K-On, and it's a really nice integrated unit. It's super easy to install. It's just undoing really simple bolts and things that are already in the car with the hardware, with your handrails and stuff like that, which is really, really nice. Also have our fire extinguisher is on our front seat. That's a bracket from K-On as well, with like the Fire Striker, I think it's called. It's like the really small fire extinguisher unit. K-On for all your bracketry for all those kind of things. Yeah, it's just expanded the usability of our car. And I'll show you one other cool thing with this kind of back system. Okay, one cool feature on the 250 series Prado is the split window tailgate. It's really cool, but without drawers or anything in the back, you actually find you don't use it enough because lifting things in and out, it's actually quite a fair way down. But with these drawers on here now, it's almost level with this tailgate opening here. So it's made this way more usable. So that's a really nice sort of byproduct of installing those drawers. So that has been one of the biggest things for us, and just for our initial first uses of these drawers, they've been absolutely fantastic. The quality, the usability, the way it's expanded how we use this car, it's just been absolutely fantastic. So I really love them so far. As I said, Raised products, they're down in Melbourne, R-A-Z-E-D. They do really, really cool stuff. So there's a couple of other mods that I want to show you around. So we'll go back to the front of the car. Because we will be towing with this car very soon, we have a trip to Tassie planned. I wanted to sort out the transmission cooling system. Now Toyota, the one that comes from factory in this thing, this isn't quite up to the task if you're towing heavy. We did notice that our temperatures were going up into that kind of 100, 110-degree range, which is definitely too hot for your AT fluid. I think you kind of want it in sort of the 75 to 95 range. Just double check that for me, but I'm pretty sure that's about right. So it was running a bit hot. Again, we got the transmission cooling kit from K-On. They provided the bracketry and all the hardware necessary to install it. I didn't install it myself. I definitely could have though. I just got it done while I was in a workshop and just kind of got it all done in one go, but I watched the tutorial on how to do it. It's a very simple install, and I think if you can do an oil change or something like that, I think you'll have no worries installing a transmission cooler for yourself. Again, it's from K-On, and yeah, really, really good unit. And straight away I noticed the temperature of the transmission was right down in really nice operating temperatures, even just general driving. And I can see that on the scan gauge that's in the car. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to run when it's towing, but it's just a bit of peace of mind because you don't want to be cooking your automatic transmission when towing. If you're going to be doing a lot of that, I would highly recommend getting a transmission cooler. I think it's worth noting as well that we do have the airbags in the suspension. They are part of the kit that we got. Again, that is primarily for towing. If we have a van on the back and we just want to level it out a bit, then those airbags can be pumped up. And I'll just show you the bracketry at the back that we have for that. We've just got our bracket here at the back for our trailer plugs and our airing up points for the airbags in the rear. Now again, this is from TLR. There are a lot of brackets out there, but a lot of them are sort of universal, which they're not really universal. They kind of just don't work too well in that sense. What I really like about this bracket is it's made for the 250. So it's quite neat and it's up nice and high, but they also have this plate underneath, which is just going to give all your sort of really important wiring and your plugs that bit of extra protection. If you're going off road, you don't want to be ripping that kind of stuff off and cause you a massive headache. So that's got that nice plate under there. It's really well mounted underneath. And again, from TLR, so making some really, really good bracketry for the 250 series Prado. I think it's worth noting with this gear, a lot of it has been sponsored. I'll run through what has been sponsored. We got the bar, we got the lights, we got the recovery gear, the winch, the ZFI antenna, the UHF, the K-On gear. So yes, a lot of it has been sponsored, but most of the gear, we have worked with those companies for quite a while, like the Cruiser company, like Sabre, GME. The lights are new, but Ultravision have a great reputation, so I'm quite happy to get them on. Again, Australian made. Actually, it's probably one thing I just want to mention is the amount of Australian made gear that I do have on the car. So we've got the bull bar, the lights, the ZFI antenna, the GME, the raised draw system in the rear, the K-On gear, TLR products, which is really, really cool. It's just a nice little added bonus, and there's some really cool stuff being made for the 250s in Australia at the moment. So that's just for transparency, so you can make more informed decisions about your own purchases. But look, we rely on this gear for our work vehicle and for getting out remote, so we're not going to be putting gear on that it's going to be failing just for the sake of it being free. So that's probably it for me at the moment, and honestly the Prado for us is done. I don't want to put a roof rack on it because I'm just going to load more stuff on up top. I'm going to get worse fuel economy. I don't want to do a rear bar because I don't want that weight hanging over the back. As it is, it's just a really usable car, and we haven't just improved its capability off-road, still great on-road, and we've actually improved its utility. You know, that fridge in the back isn't just good for when we're touring, it's good for when you do go to the shops and you want to chuck something in. It's great for when we're doing weddings and we want a cool drink and we want food. The battery's so handy to be able to charge things, run our camera gear, which is really important for us. So really keen to test this car out more. I'm really keen to tow with it in Tassie, and we're just loving this whole package at the moment. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about any of the gear or how the 250 is going, whatever, ask them down in the comments below and I'll do my best to get back to you on that. In the meantime, thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.